What happens when a Hollywood icon sits down for a routine interview, only to be ambushed on live television by a host determined to ignite controversy? What begins as a conversation about film quickly spirals into one of the most explosive confrontations in daytime TV history. This is how Joy Behar pushed Denzel Washington, one of the most dignified figures in the industry, to his breaking point. The air in the View studio was charged with anticipation. Denzel Washington had arrived to promote his latest directorial project, expecting a respectful discussion about his film. Calm, composed, and gracious as always, he settled into his seat. From the moment the cameras started rolling, however, Joy Behar made it clear this wouldn't be a typical interview. "Your new film explores justice and morality," she began, her tone sharp. "But how can you talk about justice when you've been so silent on political issues that affect people who look like you?" The question hit like a jab. Denzel's expression remained composed, but his voice carried quiet steel. "Joy, I think you're making an assumption about my silence that isn't accurate. I've spoken out here in my way, through my work. I don't think actors should dictate politics. We tell stories. We challenge people to think for themselves." But Joy pressed harder. "Isn't that a cop-out? You've got a platform most people could only dream of. You're basically saying you don't want to use it to help your community." Tension rippled through the panel. Whoopi Goldberg shifted uncomfortably. The other hosts looked stunned. "I think that's a misunderstanding of what influence really means," Denzel replied, his calm demeanor beginning to fray. "True influence comes from being authentic and not performing someone else's version of activism." Joy leaned in. "While you're up there talking about complexity and nuance, real people are suffering. You could make a difference here and you're choosing not to. That artistic integrity stuff, it's nonsense." That word landed hard. "Nonsense?" Denzel echoed, his voice low. "I've dedicated my career to portraying humanity with honesty. I've told stories about struggle, hope, dignity. If that's nonsense to you, then maybe you don't understand what art really is." Joy's tone turned mocking. "Oh, please. You make movies, Denzel. Let's not pretend it's a noble mission." His eyes narrowed. "And who gets to decide what's noble? You? The press?" Joy cut in. "You have privilege, Denzel, and silence is a choice that affects people who don't have your advantages." He leaned forward, voice low and deliberate. "Let me tell you about privilege. I grew up in Mount Vernon. My father was a preacher. My mother worked multiple jobs. I earned everything I have. If that's privilege, then I wear it with pride." Joy wasn't done. "But once you got there, you had opportunities. And with those comes responsibility." "Responsibility to who?" Denzel's voice rose, fire in his eyes. "To people who think they know how I should think, what I should say, how I should speak. I've been responsible to my craft, to truth, to my audience." "That's more than a lot of people can say." Joy challenged again. "That's not enough anymore. We're living in times when neutrality is complicity." The shift in Denzel's tone was seismic. He leaned in, his voice suddenly quieter but deadly serious. "You want to talk about real work? I funded scholarships, mentored young actors, invested in communities. I don't post about it. I do it." Joy smirked. "So we're supposed to trust you're doing good behind the scenes while refusing to take a stand publicly?" Denzel's response cut deep. "You don't get to judge the worth of my work because it's not broadcast on Twitter. Not everything valuable has to be performative." The other co-hosts froze, the air growing heavier by the second. Joy leaned back, pleased with the chaos she'd stoked. "I think our viewers can decide if your approach is really helping the world," she said coolly. "But the fact that you're so defensive, that says a lot." Denzel's eyes sharpened. His voice dropped to a calm, almost threatening whisper. "Defensive? No, Joy. I'm disappointed. Disappointed that you'd rather create controversy than have a real discussion about the work. Disappointed that you'd use your platform to corner a guest rather than uplift a conversation." "Oh, so now I'm the bad guy?" she fired back. "You just can't handle being challenged." His voice hardened. "I've been challenged all my life here by critics, by the industry, by reality. What I won't tolerate is being ambushed by someone pretending to ask questions, when all they want is a soundbite. Joy smirked. You came on The View, Denzel. You knew we ask real questions. If you can't handle that, a broken bar. Real questions seek truth, he snapped. What you're doing is theater, and I'm not here to play a role in your act. Her tone turned smug. I'm holding you accountable for your silence. His stare pierced through her. You're not interested in accountability. You're interested in compliance. You want me to parrot the right slogans, the right causes for your validation. But I don't perform activism for applause. Joy fired back. That's just a convenient excuse. Denzel stood abruptly. His chair scraped back sharply. The room jolted. Excuse? He thundered. You don't know me. You don't know the work I've done, the sacrifices I've made, the battles I've fought. You sit in that chair and fling judgment like it's truth. Joy faltered. I'm just asking questions. A broken bar. Questions? His laugh was sharp, bitter. You haven't asked a single one. You've launched accusations. You've twisted my words. You've disrespected me, your audience, and yourself. Silence fell. Everyone in the studio knew they were witnessing something unprecedented. Joy's voice was small now. I think you're overreacting. Denzel's glare was unrelenting. If this is your idea of journalism, then you're failing spectacularly. She sat frozen, unable to respond. He turned to the crew, the other hosts, and the watching cameras. You want a headline? Here it is. Denzel Washington walks away from disrespect, from staged conflict, from this charade. He paused. I came here to talk about art. You wanted a fight. Congratulations. You got one. But don't confuse a broken moment for a victory. With that, Denzel Washington walked off the set. And for the first time, Joy Behar had no response.